And guess what this liberal would be all about? This liberal will be all about socializing, would be about basically taking over and the government running all of your companies.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
Obama's gonna change it. Obama's gonna lead 'em.
Why are you here?
To get some money.
What kind of money?
Obama money.
Where's it coming from?
Obama.
We're gonna change it.
And where did Obama get it?
I don't know. His stash. I don't know. I don't know where he got it from. But he giving it to us.
And rearrange it.
To help us. We love him. That's why we voted for him. Obama.
We're gonna change the world.
And in each instance, when the rate dropped, revenues from the tax increased. And in the 1980s, when the tax was increased to 28%, the revenues went down. So why raise it at all?
Well, Charlie, what I've said is that I would look at raising the capital gains tax for purposes of fairness.
It's going to tax me more, isn't it?
It's not that I want to punish your success. I just want to make sure that everybody who is behind you, that they've got a chance at success too. I think when you spread the wealth around, it's good for everybody.
Barack Obama, what are your thoughts on the Declaration and Constitution?
You know, I think it's a remarkable document.
When you think about the First Amendment, you think it's highly overrated.
But I think it is an imperfect document, and I think it is a document that reflects some deep flaws in American culture.
I never thought this day would ever happen. I won't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I won't have to worry about paying my mortgage.
But the Supreme Court never ventured into the issues of redistribution of wealth and sort of more basic issues of political and economic justice in the society.
A waitress who is making minimum wage plus tips, and I can afford it and she can't, what's the big deal for me to say I'm going to pay a little bit more?
Because that
is neighborliness.
I think that there was a tendency to lose track of the political and community organizing and activities on the ground that are able to put together the actual coalitions of power through which you bring about redistributive change.
During the transition, we're going to be calling all of you in to help us shape the agenda. We're going to be having meetings all across the country with community organizations so that you have input into the agenda for the next presidency of the United States of America.
That's why today it is no surprise that the labor movement has signed up steel workers, auto workers, SEIU, and the AFL-CIO.
There are opportunities in America to share better in the wealth, to rebalance the power, and unions and government are part of the solution.
The National Wildlife Federation, of which I am the chairman, NRDC, and others, like the Sierra Club, the Steelworkers, Greenpeace, and Energy Action, to work on campuses that win change for our nation.
We're trying to use the power of persuasion. And if that doesn't work, we're going to use the persuasion of power.
We have social justice groups and business leaders as well.
You know, I'm not optimistic about bringing about major redistributive change through the courts. You know, the institution just isn't structured that way.
To pull together a community of activists across this great nation who will speak up at town halls, ask candidates the tough questions, and volunteer in the fight.
And if that doesn't work, we're going to use the persuasion of power.
You attacked him! We will hold elected officials' feet to the fire to make sure they implement the clean burning, energy saving, job creating Apollo program that our nation needs.
We took names. We watched how they voted.
We know where they live.
If we get a good public option, it could lead to single payer, and that's the best way to reach single payer. Saying you'll do nothing until you get single payer is a sure way never to get it.
From two of my favorite political philosophers, Mao Zedong and Mother Teresa, the two people that I turn to most.
Working with unions around the world, and what we're working towards is building a global organization, because workers of the world unite. It's not just a slogan anymore.
You need to go down there and see what Fidel Castro put in place. You can think whatever you want to about Fidel Castro, but he was one of the brightest leaders I have ever met.
In Venezuela, Chavez really had an incredible revolution, democratic revolution, to begin to put in place things that were going to have an impact on the people in Venezuela, the property owners.
The Cuban Revolution that kicked out the wealthy, Che Guevara did that.
And the folks who were then controlling the media in Venezuela rebelled, worked frankly with folks here in the U.S. government, worked to oust him, but he came back in another revolution, and then Chavez began to take very seriously media in this country.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed at you people who call for openness and transparency.
And you haven't even heard the questions.
It doesn't matter. It's the process.
One of the reasons we did so many of the David Plouffe videos was not just for our supporters, but also because it was a way for us to get our message out without having to actually talk to reporters. We just put that out there and make them write what Plouffe had said.
Even if there's a tough question, it's a question coming from somebody who was invited or who has screened, or the question was screened.
You were quoted this week in Time magazine as saying of Fox News, it's opinion journalism masquerading as news. What do you mean masquerading?
Your formal engagements are prepackaged.
Let's not pretend they're a news network the way CNN is.
Tightly controlled. It feels, the concept of a town hall, I think, is to have an open public forum. And this sounds like a very tightly controlled audience and list of questions. Why do it that way?
Very rarely did we communicate through the press anything that we didn't absolutely control.
It's a pattern of controlling the press.
How so?
Well, and controlling the public.
Like calling reporters the night before to tell them they're going to be called up? That is shocking.
We've had this discussion ad nauseum, and
of course you would, because you don't have any answers.
I happen to be a proponent of a single-payer universal health care plan.
Someone once said to me, this is a Trojan horse for a single payer. And I said, well, it's not a Trojan horse, right? It's just right there. I'm telling you, we're going to get there.
No matter what you've heard, if you like your doctor or health care plan, you can keep it.
And next to me was a guy from the insurance company who then argued against the public health insurance option, saying it wouldn't let private insurance compete, that a public option will put the private insurance industry out of business and leave single payer. My single payer friends, he was right.
I have not said that I was a single-payer supporter. I happen to be a proponent of a single-payer universal health care plan. I want to make a distinction between a universal plan versus a single-payer plan, because those are two different things. Of a single-payer universal health care plan. A single-payer health care plan. Universal health care plan. We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
Because of Obama, I'm inspired to be the next doctor.
He said it all must lend an hand to make his country strong again.
Redistribution of wealth, redistributive change, political and economic justice.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.